Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice is the highly anticipated second installment in the DC Extended Universe. And as I just mentioned, this was a movie that everyone out there was highly looking forward to. Some might even call it the most anticipated movie of the whole year, because for the first time ever, we were getting a live-action movie of Batman and Superman fighting. But at the same time, this movie was met with a lot of skepticism going into it as well. A lot of it mainly having to do with the casting towards this movie. I mean, you have Ben Affleck being cast as Batman, you have Gal Gadot being cast as Wonder Woman, you have Jesse Eisenberg being cast as Lex Luthor. These were the kind of decisions that left a lot of people turning their heads, because obviously these kind of actors aren't really who you'd expect to portray these characters. And although I myself was very skeptic towards this movie, I was also highly looking forward to it as well. So much so that I even did a little build-up series for this movie, making spoilers for the Dark Knight trilogy and Man of Steel. And this movie has been out for about a weekend now, and a lot of people out there already have very different opinions towards this movie. I have seen reviews of people who love this movie, I have seen reviews of people who hate this movie, and I've seen reviews for people who are right in the middle with it. Now, how do I feel about it? Well, let's get into that. So this movie essentially takes place 18 months after what happened in Metropolis between Superman and Zod. Everyone in the world now knows who Superman is, and everyone out there basically has either one of two opinions towards him. There are people who view him as this god, a savior to humanity, someone who has come to serve as Earth's guardian. And you can clearly see in this movie why people think that, you know, he's saving people from terrorists, saving people from floods, saving a rocket ship from blowing up. He's doing a lot of really great stuff for the people. But at the same time, there are people out there who also see him as someone who could potentially destroy the world. And you understand where people are coming from. I mean, you look at Superman, and this guy, if he was really pissed off one day, he could just be all like, yeah, screw the human race, I'm gonna destroy every single one of you. And because of his great power, there's really nothing in the world that we could do about it. And one person in particular who feels that way is Bruce Wayne. Now, I want to immediately touch on Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne / Batman for this movie. He was obviously one of the areas in this movie that had a lot of people really questioning if he was the right choice for it. And I want to say this right now, the Batman element of this movie was hands down the best part of it. Ben Affleck was fantastic as Bruce Wayne / Batman. He did so much better than I could have possibly thought he would have done. Just everything about him. I mean, you can see how smart he is, how concerned he is with the people of the Earth. You can see how successful he is. He's in great physical shape for this role, so you know he can kick ass. Jeremy Irons, I also thought was really good casting for this movie as Alfred, because you can see that he still serves as that mentor role to Bruce, which is great. And one of the bigger reasons why Bruce Wayne has such a big grudge against Superman is because one of the buildings that was destroyed in the battle between Superman and Zod was Wayne Enterprises. You know, so many of his employees died. One of his employees even lost both of his legs and became a cripple. A little girl lost her mother. He experienced all of that, and it makes him wonder if Superman really can be trusted. I mean, someone with all that power is a real danger. But what I also thought was really cool is when we get to Clark Kent, we see that he feels very similar towards Batman. Well, similar in the sense that he feels that Batman is a danger to the people too. Because Batman, as we all know, is a vigilante, he plays by his own rules, and very recently has also started branding his victims before they get sent to prison. And what's so scary about this brand to Clark Kent is the fact that those who Batman have branded that have been sent to prison usually end up getting killed by the other prisoners there because they've been branded with the bat symbol. So I did already like seeing the fact that these two haven't even met yet, and you know they're already at odds between one another. However, Clark Kent isn't really focusing on that too much, because in reality, he is dealing with Superman being the target of so much controversy. His two biggest supporters throughout this whole thing are his mother Martha and Lois Lane. And one of the areas that I really liked in this movie is we actually do see a bit more of a romance between Lois Lane and Superman. You know, Lois Lane is always there for Superman. She tells him that he shouldn't be concerned with what the public thinks about him. It should only matter what he actually does, and that is helping people. It just actually seemed like they had a much better genuine connection between them, which I thought was great. But it's not just Batman who also feels that Superman could be a real threat to this world. It's also Lex Luthor. And with that, allow me to officially delve into Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Now, this was probably the one casting choice that everyone was most skeptical about. I mean, from all the trailers and the clips that I have seen of Jesse Eisenberg portraying Lex Luthor, the whole time I was just like, this guy just does not seem to be a right choice for Lex Luthor. And I'm here to tell you guys right now, we were right to fear that. Jesse Eisenberg was a really bad casting choice for Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor I had always seen as this really methodical, really seasoned, just old businessman who really wants to take Superman down. And in this movie, Jesse Eisenberg just had Lex Luthor portrayed as this really weird, crazy, annoying little twerp is the best way I can describe him. I mean, he comes off as way too young to be running LexCorp. He's always twitching, he's yelping at everything, and I'm just like, this is not Lex Luthor at all. Granted, I will say this, Jesse Eisenberg did deliver some good lines as Lex Luthor, but every time he said every line that he did, I can't help but think that Bryan Cranston would have been a much better Lex Luthor. So yeah, if you ask me, they screwed up Lex Luthor for this movie. But in the meantime, Lex Luthor's overall goal is to kill Superman through using this kryptonite that he's found in the Indian Ocean, and also Zod's DNA to infiltrate a ship from Krypton. But it's not until we get to this point where Lex Luthor throws his fundraiser that I think the movie's starting to move down the ladder a little bit. Because here Bruce Wayne has downloaded this data from Lex's mainframe that gives him some information about what Lex has been searching this whole time. But before he can look at it, it's taken by Diana Prince, who's played by Gal Gadot. She eventually does return to Bruce Wayne, and here he discovers what exactly is in this data. He discovers that Diana Prince is this immortal warrior who's been on Earth for a very long time, who is in fact Wonder Woman. And in this data chip are files for Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, you know, all superheroes who eventually become members of the Justice League. I mean, did these little things get me excited for the Justice League that's coming later on? Yes, but at the same time, I'm seeing the way it's unfolding, and I'm just like, was this really necessary for the movie? And the answer is no, it wasn't. I mean, these things were completely shoehorned into this movie solely for the purpose of building up to the Justice League. And throughout this movie, it felt so much like this movie was focused more on building up for the Justice League that's coming forward rather than making this a great movie for Batman vs. Superman. It made this movie feel really sloppy at times, and I feel they could have definitely done without that. In the meantime, Bruce Wayne has been having a lot of these nightmares over, you know, what's going to happen in the future if Superman is still a part of Earth. And these dreams give him the sign that if Superman is still around, the world is going to be destroyed. With that, Batman officially feels like the only way to ensure the world's survival is if Superman is taken down. He has to be assumed as a threat. But what I think is really cool is Alfred is trying to tell Bruce Wayne, it's like, no, Superman is not our enemy. He saved this world. He has given us no reason for us to assume that he's a bad guy. Bruce Wayne, however, refuses to listen, and he goes off to get the kryptonite that Lex Luthor has discovered. So Batman goes to retrieve the kryptonite from LexCorp, and here was I thought one of the better scenes of the movie. Because as I mentioned, the Batman element of Batman v Superman is easily the best part of it, and this scene shows that. We see the Batmobile for the first time. Batman's just taking out all these thugs who are trying to stop him. It made for a really sick action scene. But at the same time, this scene gave me the one problem that I had with Batman in this movie. Because you can see him clearly shooting at guys, more than likely killing a lot of these thugs that are coming after him. And that's something that I personally had a problem with. Because everything I have been told is the fact that Batman's one rule throughout everything he does is he will never kill anybody. And evidently in this scene, he is clearly killing a lot of the people that are coming for him. I would have liked to see that Batman kept his rule and not killing anybody. However, before Batman can officially get the kryptonite, he is intercepted by Superman. And Superman here officially warns Batman that if he sees him out here again, there's going to be consequences. To which Batman just says, "Tell me, do you bleed? You will." It eventually does, however, get to a point where Superman decides to go to this congressional hearing to decide whether or not his actions are valid. But eventually we find out that as this hearing is going on, that Lex Luthor has masterminded this huge bombing for it. The bomb eventually goes off, which kills dozens of people inside, which has Superman escaping, but it leads everyone to believe that Superman caused this incident. Batman, of course, is among the people who believe Superman caused this, and now feels it's time to take Superman down. Batman arms himself with this really high-tech suit, which is really cool, and also a kryptonite spear he can use to kill Superman with. Superman, however, doesn't want to confront Batman because he knows this isn't the way anything should go about. Lex Luthor, however, being the sick bastard that he is able to get Superman to go to confront Batman. Lex tells Superman that if he does not kill Batman, then he's going to kill his mother, Martha Kent. So now we finally get to see Batman and Superman throw down with each other. And the fight itself between them, I thought was awesome. I mean, they're just throwing each other through walls, through the roof, through ceilings. Neither of them are really getting hurt from it, which is great. Batman has developed this arsenal so he can fight Superman. And this suit that Batman has developed has also allowed him to be able to be in close combat with Superman. What I love in particular is one moment when Superman just tries to punch Batman in the face and he just blocks him. And the look on Superman's face is just like, oh shit, did that just happen? It's like at that moment, Superman, for the first time in forever, does not feel immortal. He realizes that Batman could in fact potentially kill him here. But the way this fight between them ends, I'm really not crazy about. Batman takes the Kryptonite spear, he's ready to stab Superman with it, and Superman just looks at Batman and he says, please save Martha. This causes Batman to have that flashback to his childhood when his parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, were killed. And after that, Batman basically just snaps out of it and he says to Superman, alright, I will help you. I mean, it just happens so quickly, it leaves you just like, wait, what? I mean, literally, 3 seconds ago, I was seeing Batman and Superman in a fight to the death with each other. But now after learning their mothers apparently have the same name, it's like, alright, we can be bros now. It all just happened way too quickly, and I felt they could have done a much better job with organizing a truce between the two of them. Batman is able to rescue Martha from Lex Luthor. And I will say this, the way that Batman is able to save Martha is really awesome. I mean, he just storms into the building that she's being kept in, and he's just taking out every single one of the thugs that is there. I mean, just taking all of them out with really badass ninja martial arts skills, and it's awesome. He's also using the grappling gun and the batarang. It's just really cool to see. Even though, again, at the same time, it certainly looked like he at least killed a few of them. But Lex Luthor reveals this is all part of his plan. Lex was hoping that Batman would have been able to kill Superman, but evidently, since that did not happen, Lex Luthor reveals that through the Kryptonian ship, he was able to use his DNA and Zod's DNA to create this Doomsday creature. So now we get a big fight between Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman against Doomsday. They all clash with each other, and it is cool. I mean, it is really cool seeing Wonder Woman being able to fight and seeing what she's capable of doing. With her sword, her shield, her energy lasso, and all that cool shit. Batman using the Batplane to just open fire on Doomsday. Superman and Doomsday even being able to fight one-on-one with each other in Earth's atmosphere because neither of them can be affected by that. It did make for a really cool and really entertaining fight. But I did have to stop for a second and think about something. And that is the fact that this fight, along with a lot of other things in this movie, was definitely shoehorned into this movie. I mean, when you really think about it, the sole reason that Doomsday was really put into this movie is so we could see Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman team up for a big fight at the end. I mean, the fight itself is action-packed and it does look really cool visually, but you gotta consider it from a story point of view. It's not necessary. And eventually, after all the stuff they're unleashing on Doomsday, nothing is killing it. They know that the only way to kill Doomsday is with a Kryptonian weapon. So Superman, after telling Lois he loves her, he takes the Kryptonite spear and he just charges full on against Doomsday. He's able to stab Doomsday with the spear, but Doomsday at the same time is able to stab Superman. And it just leaves you sitting there for a second like, no, they didn't just kill Superman, did they? And for a while, it really does appear that they did. Which really felt like a big, ballsy move on this movie's part to kill off Superman. Superman is given a funeral, and Lex Luthor, for what he has done, is placed in prison. Batman eventually does come to confront Lex Luthor about it, where Lex tells Batman that there is a bigger threat out there in the universe that now is coming for Earth soon. Which I feel is a reference Lex Luthor is making to Darkseid, which I think could be great for later installments. Shortly after Superman's funeral, Bruce Wayne tells Diana Prince that they need to assemble this team to defend Earth. However, the final shot in this movie shows Superman's grave. You hear a very faint heartbeat in the background, and you also see the little dirt that's on top of his casket slowly start to rise. Which makes you realize, oh, maybe Superman isn't dead. And for a while, I really didn't think he was. I mean, you can't just kill off Superman without having a Justice League movie with him in it first. So all in all, I think Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice is a just fine movie. As I mentioned, Ben Affleck as Batman/Bruce Wayne was absolutely awesome. He completely surpassed every expectation I had for him. He portrayed Batman and Bruce Wayne as I wanted him to portray them. Henry Cavill continues to show that he is the perfect guy to play Superman. I also really liked, as I said in this movie, how Lois Lane and Superman actually appeared to have more of a romance in this movie. Gal Gadot, she ended up doing very well as Wonder Woman. The actual fight between Batman and Superman, when it does happen, is awesome. The action scenes and the visuals in this movie are great. I mean, Zack Snyder shows that he is really good when it comes to that. The issues, however, with this movie are, as I mentioned, Jesse Eisenberg was horribly miscast as Lex Luthor. Throughout this movie, I just never really got the vibe that this is how Lex Luthor should be. It just didn't feel right. And I know a lot of you will tell me that Jesse Eisenberg actually portrayed Lex Luthor Jr., who was actually Lex Luthor's son. But it doesn't change the fact that this was still the Lex Luthor they chose to roll with, and I didn't think that was the way they should have gone with it. This movie's also way longer than it needs to be. There are a lot of moments in this movie that certainly drag on that you could easily pick out and say, okay, that definitely could have been shorter. But above all, the biggest flaw with this movie is how much they tried to shoehorn into it. I mean, Lois Lane, yes, she's in this movie, but she really doesn't do a whole lot, I felt. Wonder Woman was completely shoehorned into this movie. Those brief cameos with Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg, those were completely shoehorned into this movie. Doomsday was completely forced into this movie just so we could have a big final showdown with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman working together. In the end, I didn't think this was a bad movie, but I was disappointed. I mean, like everyone, I went into this movie hoping for the movie of the year, what we were hoping for so long. And I will say this right now, if you're one of the people out there who does feel it lived up to the hype and was an awesome movie, that's great. I'm glad you feel that way. I just personally was hoping for more, and I do think this movie could have been better. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.